we'll send the results. Georgia Southern. I don't think people like the new Gus. He's kind of scared. I don't see the need to change. All right, raise your hand if you like the uniforms they wore on Saturday at Georgia Southern.
I like the way they play. I don't care what they wear.
There you go, Benny. We're gonna get you online on that chat room. Get you in that Georgia Southern chat room so you can tell them like it is.
I like it for one time.
I thought the helmets were kind of cool, but yeah, whatever. Alrighty, it's 9 o'clock. So since we have a quorum, let's call to order the September 6, 2016, 9 a.m. City of Statesboro City Council meeting. I am going to ask Councilman Jeff Yawn to please lead us in our invocation and pledge of allegiance. Councilman Yawn.
Thank you, Mayor. And let us pray. Father, fill us with your spirit. Intertwine our hearts and minds so that the discussion we have today, the decisions we make, will glorify you and direct our community in the way that you would have. We ask this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Yawn. We're going to move to agenda item 3, which is recognitions and public presentations. Our first recognition is a presentation of retirement for Thomas Hendricks. Mr. Siemens, are you here? Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and Council, Mr. Wetmore. This morning it is with great pleasure that we get to officially recognize Thomas Hendricks. Tommy came on board about 13 years ago with us at the street department and has been a very dedicated worker over the years. Tommy is a good friend, known his family for a long time, and I'm proud to say that he has served his tenure well at the street department. And with that, Tommy, if you'll come up, the Mayor's got something for you.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks, for all you do. We're so glad you've been with us the last 13 years, and we'd like to present this plaque to you. So I'm going to hand it to you that way and let our city manager, Mr. Wetmore, get on the other side for a picture. And again, thank you so much for your service. So the question is always, what you going to do?
Stand aside.
I'm going to be remiss in saying that I did not, before I made that presentation, welcome and introduce our new city manager, Randy Wetmore. Randy comes to us from Des Moines, Iowa. Marshalltown. Des Moines person. All right. And he's been down here working unofficially prior to the first, getting ready and settled. And then last week was his first week, and wow, there you go.
Shut down City Hall.
Shut down City Hall. So what I wanted to do, and this is a little bit ironic, is to give you a little something from the city of Statesboro, because hopefully you'll be out and about and you will need it. You really needed it Friday, but we didn't present it to you then. Which is your official City of Statesboro umbrella.
Thank you very much.
So, welcome aboard. Yep, that was not as timely as it could have been. There you go. All right, our next recognition public presentation is, can we have Alex Smith come forward? Is Alex here? With County Coordinator for Concerted Services. Okay. Alex was going to talk talk to us about an update on the utility discount program. We'll circle that, and if Alex comes in, then we'll zero back. 3C, recognition of the recent hiring of Tracy Neesmith for the fire prevention officer position and promotion of Chris Appleby to lieutenant. Chief Grant.
Good morning, Jim Grants, Fire Chief. You come on up. Wanted to briefly this morning just recognize a couple of our guys that have recently either been hired or promoted to leadership positions within the fire department. First, Chris Appleby, who wasn't able to be with us this morning, was recently promoted to company officer at the rank of lieutenant. That process had 5 candidates. It was an internal process. All of them did very, very well in the process. We have a lot of up-and-coming folks that are going to make fine leaders for us in the department. It was a difficult decision, but Chris was the top performing candidate. He's been with the department since 2013 and in fire service altogether since 2010. Chris came in and quickly established himself as a informal leader within the department, and again, just performed very, very well within the process. So we're excited to have that position filled. Next was Tracy Neesmith, which is standing right here beside me. Tracy was hired as the fire prevention officer, as all we know, that was vacated by Chris Colson several months ago. The fire prevention officer is in charge for fire code enforcement, fire safety education, as well as the cause and origin investigations within the department. So he has a very, very important role within the department. Tracy has served over 25 years in the fire service altogether, and actually was a former employee from 93 to 2005, where he left to pursue a career in construction. Again, we had 4 candidates, 2 internal, 2 external, that applied for this position, and Tracy was the best performing candidate. We were excited to have him back. So I'm sure all of you will get to know Tracy and see he's very active. His position requires for him to be very active in the community and communicate with our developers and our leadership. So we're excited to have him back. Thank you.
Thank you. Glad to have you. Ms. Sidger, do we have anybody that has registered for a public comment regarding an agenda item? Okay. In that case, we'll move on to agenda item 5. Before I do that, I want to ask something to Alan real quick. Councilman Riggs is not going to be able to be here, but wanted to know if he could call in. So since we've already started the meeting, is that an issue? Can you see if you can get Councilman Riggs on the phone? We'll go ahead and keep going, but just, I'm not sure I've got it. Guy's name. Don't do that on speaker, pick up. And if he needs first call back about 10 minutes, that's okay too. Because we're kind of ambushing a little bit here. Is consideration of a motion to approve the consent agenda. I would like to ask council to look through the consent agenda.
I'm here.
Okay. I'd like to ask council to look through the consent agenda and then ask for a motion to approve.
Second.
Do I have any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Agenda item 6. Consideration of a motion to approve an application for the alcohol ordinance section 6-17 that will allow for a one-day event on October 22nd from 2 until 10 p.m. for Eagle Creek Brewing Company, Mississippi. Can you please introduce this item?
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Deneau of the Eagle Creek Brewing Company is asking the council to exempt the special event from the open container ordinance, which would allow drinking and the extension of their business on the sidewalk area. The recommendation from the police department and the fire department would be to maintain the barrier as they did with this first event. They held with a controlled entrance and exits and have the proper number of employees with crowd management training and to maintain the occupant load inside at 83 or below. The public works had no objections as long as they're confined to the parking lot, using the sidewalks, and not impacting the streets with no street closures. There will be no public works staff needed. If council approves this event, it will be held on October 22nd, 2016, from 2 to 10 p.m. And their expected attendance will be around 1,000 people.
I have a question that really doesn't have anything to do with this necessarily, per se, but, with breweries, do they still have, where they can only serve a very limited amount of alcohol per patron?
I believe so.
Okay.
You said that they'll be restricted to the sidewalk. We also have, I guess, law enforcement, also.
I'm not sure if
Has been requested.
not gonna work.
But it's not something under review that was suggested either, was it? Can you speak to that, please, Ross?
Mayor, Council, Rob Ryan, Police Chief, we do not place off-duty or on-duty officers at events that serve alcohol. So a request from the brewery would be denied for folks who actually work that event. The previous event we had zero problems with. We didn't need to bring any additional staffing for this event. So there have been no plans for additional staffing for this event. Thank you.
Do you have any further questions? Is the applicant here? I don't see the applicant here.
I'm representing Eagle Creek today.
Okay.
William Bridwell from Airbound Entertainment.
Do you have any questions for the person representing Eagle Creek today? Who's going to be playing, just curious?
We'll confirm it after y'all give us the okay, but
So if they vote, if council votes okay, then you're going to tell us who?
yeah, absolutely.
You don't want that to have any bearing if they're really bad. No, I'm just kidding. Really good one. All right, do we have any further questions or discussion before I ask for a motion? If not, do I have a motion to approve an application for the alcohol ordinance section 6-17D, exemptions to open container prohibition that will allow for a one-day event on October 22nd, 2016, from 2 o'clock until 10 p.m. by Eagle Creek Brewing Company.
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'm waiting.
CBDB from Birmingham, Alabama, the Vagabonds from Nashville, Tennessee, the Bama Gamblers from Birmingham, Alabama, and the Orange Constant from Statesboro / Athens, Georgia.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item 7, consideration of a motion to adopt ordinance 2016-08. Brad.
Brad Deal, City Engineer. Just to give you all a little bit of background information on this. The Georgia Department of Public Safety issues a permit to all local governments within the state, allowing them to use speed detection detection devices to enforce speed limits on streets within their jurisdictions. The permit that we currently have expires in December of this year. It has to be renewed every 3 years. And the process kind of works like this. The first step is the city engineering and police departments review the existing speed limits to determine if any changes need to be made. If any speed limits are changed or proposed to be changed, we have to do a traffic study and submit that to the Georgia Department of Transportation for approval. Once all the speed limits have been submitted by the city to Georgia DOT, the list is brought to you all, the city council, for approval. And then after council has adopted and approved the speed limit list, we submit that back to Georgia DOT, and they in turn will submit that to the Georgia Department of Public Safety. And at that time, the police department will have to submit all of their calibration certificates for radar detectors and also certifications for the radar operators. And at that time, the Department of Public Safety will issue us a new certificate for the next 3 years to enforce speed limits. And this time around, the only changes that we made were there's an old school zone at the old Sally Zetter Hour that's no longer being used, so we deleted that. The only other things we did was basically just housekeeping, where we corrected some street names, and there were some distances, I think, on some of the streets that we had to correct. And that's pretty much it. That's the only thing we changed. So the document that you all would be approving would be basically the same speed limits that we had the last 3 years on all the streets.
What you gotta do to up the speed limit on Fair Road?
To raise speed limit?
Yes. Do we have any questions for Brad before I ask for a motion?
I have a question. Reference to streets that we can just set some type of speed control or speed detection device, is there a limit on how many we can use?
That I don't know. I don't know if we're all in.
No, sir. Council, not that I'm aware of, we could theoretically select each officer, with a speed detection device. We just don't have the resources.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I do have one question that really doesn't necessarily 100% have to do with this, but it does concern me. Sometimes when I'm bringing back Fair Road, when I'm driving on Fair Road, like at night, there will be a police officer in the middle turn lane that is clocking people. I don't know. The lights are off. I just have concern with that. Thank you. I just don't think it's safe, I guess is my point. Somebody, until I get to that turn lane, they may not see that person's there because the cars are dark, That was it. Off the cuff, but maybe think of it. Anything else? Okay, if not, do I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2016-08?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Agenda item 8, consideration of a motion to award a contract to Southeastern Civil Inc. for the Beasley Road drainage improvements in the amount of $227,800. Is Marcos here, or
I'll
taking
take it.
that one? Okay.
It's brand new still. This project consists of piping a badly eroded ditch on Beasley Road, which runs from Mill Creek, basically about Mill Creek Elementary to Poplar Avenue. The city has had maintenance issues with this ditch for many years due to the velocity and volume of water that flows through it. In some areas, the ditch is eroding the shoulder of the road, causing a safety issue. As you can see, Southeastern Civil was the low bidder at $227,800. Southeastern Civil recently completed the Savannah Avenue Improvements Project, so we do have a history of working with them. The project is to be funded by 2013 SPLOST funds out of STM 13. And as you can see, the project originally had $190,000 budgeted for it, was from a previous cost estimate. But during the design and hydrology study for the project, a larger size pipe was specified than what we had originally estimated, and that caused the cost to go up. So the additional funds we would be taking out of STM 12, which is major stormwater infrastructure repairs, and that budget was set up pretty much for projects just like this, and it's also SPLOST funds just like the original Beasley Road project was. That being said, engineering recommends awarding the contract to Southeastern Civil in the amount of $227,800.
Okay, do we have any questions for Brad regarding agenda item 8? If not, do I have a motion to award a contract to Southeastern Civil Inc. for the Beasley Road drainage improvements in the amount of $227,800? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 9. Consideration of a motion to award the purchase of a CNG refuse truck to New Wave Manufacturing per the NJPA contract in the amount of $307,788.05. Mr. Frank.
Thank you. Aaron Frazier, I'm Director of Central Services. We're recommending a motion to purchase a CNG refuse truck from UA Manufacturing. If approved, it will be budgeted out of the the current fiscal year 17 budget, out of 2013 SPLOST. This contract we use to purchase is a state co-op contract, actually out of the state of Minnesota. Our ordinance allows us to utilize these co-op contracts for volume discounts. I would like to say that the New Way refuse truck we've purchased in the past using natural gas, of course, allows us to save significant money because we have a natural gas department, obviously. So our recommendation is to award the contract for $307,788.05. That answers your question.
Hey, Darren, when the city first transitioned over to CNG, 2009, 2010, gas was closer to $4 a gallon. Now it's hovering at 2 or even below. So what's our competitiveness? I mean, I know we operate the gas ourselves, so we get some discount that way, but what's the comparison now?
I believe we're still saving significant money to the tune of about, $1 per gallon. Of course, then we were saving $3 a gallon, but it's still well worthwhile. Jason might want to add something to that as well.
Jason Walls, Director of Public Works Engineering. Most of the fuel savings up front is calculated based solely on the differential between the fuel cost. As Darren stated, we're about $1, $1.25 a gallon cheaper now because we're charging ourselves, or gas department's charging our department about $1.40, $1.25 a gallon for natural gas. But the significant savings comes on downtime and from maintenance costs because these compressed natural gas vehicles just have almost zero maintenance compared to diesels. With all the DEF and selective catalytic reduction that new diesels have, it's just very cumbersome, very expensive to maintain. These CNG vehicles don't have that.
What does it suggest in changing anything?
No, I get asked that question a lot. So it's more than just fuel costs. It's maintenance.
Maintenance is always an issue, so that's good.
And we're still going to have the same kind of longevity?
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Probably better.
I would like to add that on the front end, when we decided to get into this, we visited several sites, Thomasville, Atlanta area. So the combination of the body and the chassis, we been well thought out, and it's performed quite well too, so.
Did you ever still say one?
Not bad. Any further questions for Darren? Any further discussion? If not, do I have a motion to award the purchase of a CNG refuse truck to New Way Manufacturing per the NJPA contract in the amount of $307,788.05?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item 10. Consideration of a motion to approve a contract for engineering services to AMEC Foster Wheeler Engineering in the base amount of $115,000, not to exceed 160. Steve.
Good morning, Steve Washington, Natural Gas.
Good morning.
We're back with a change on this. Originally, we had brought this to you, and we got this approved with a not to exceed number of $120,000. The reason we're bringing it back and asking to go higher to 160 is because we have done, in the engineer's due diligence process and looking at the project, to come up with his base number. We have come up with a couple of ideas we think will save us money in the long run. One of them is we may be able to shorten the distance of this, of the directional bore involved in this river crossing project. But if we do that, we may impact more wetlands, and that will involve, which the bulk of this money is for what's called a 404 environmental permit. So in order to save money on the construction costs, we may have to spend more money on engineering costs and permit applications. And there was a breakout in the packet showing what I recommended Robert, we leave the base amount at 115. If we get into it and we decide not to do any of these new different things and go with the project as it's set up, 115 will be our number. But if we get further into it and we decide that we want to do the shorter bore, this gives us the ability to go ahead and have the numbers approved in the budget. We also have some numbers in there for other general things. Corrosion mitigation, if we have to move the location of the line under the power line, we may have to do some corrosion mitigation survey because of stray current that feeds off of those large transmission lines. There's also some money in there if we have to get some easements. If when we make our DOT application, they turn it down, our only option is to move under that power line right away, and we'll have to cross a piece of private property. So we went ahead and put numbers in there for all of these worst case scenarios so that we wouldn't have to come, we can come back to either Robert or the city manager, and we can approve these things and keep moving forward. But I wanted to bring these contingencies to you now and get them out there so that we know what we're potentially dealing with. And we'd be glad to answer any questions that anybody might have.
So according to this, we potentially could, if it all works out, save up to $100,000 in construction spend. Is that what you're thinking?
If we're estimating the cost of this at $200 a foot. So if we could shorten that bore up, and what we would be doing is we could avoid replacing the line under the railroad track. So we could save the railroad track permitting process, and we could save some additional pipe footages. So I can't tell you exactly how much we would save, but it would have to be, our savings would have to be greater than the engineering cost for us to decide to do it. If they came back and said, well, we can save $15,000, but it's going to cost you $20,000 in the permit, I would say, no, we're not going to do that. Let's go ahead and go just like we're claiming. But if we come back and we see we can save $100,000 by spending $20,000 extra in engineering costs, I think we all would agree, hey, let's do that. So this just gives the city manager flexibility so that as we get into the project, we can make these changes without having to, to make a long delay and come back with a change order and all that. Which,
Does the potential change eliminate the railroad crossing or just move it?
it could eliminate.
Or
cost of the project. Plus, we would save the engineering fees to the railroad, because everything with the railroad has a fee attached to it. We don't know exactly what that is. That's one of the weaknesses with the RFQ that we're doing, is you don't have a lot of engineering prepared up front. You discover this whenever your engineer starts to do his due diligence on the project. He starts to dig into it, then you find these things. So that's one reason. But I didn't want to get into the project, have to come back in. I wanted to go ahead and bring these options to you now and discuss it.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for Steve regarding this motion? Any further discussion? What do you think, regardless of where it goes, that, I do have one more question, you may have said this, construction work again?
Probably next summer. That's the most advantageous time, is during the driest time of the year. So we probably would shoot for probably June, July to try to kick the project off. That would be our goal.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a consideration of a motion to approve a contract for engineering services to AMEC Foster, Wheeler Engineering, the base amount of $115,000 and a not to exceed amount of $160,000?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 10, a motion to approve resolution 2016-34. Mr. Cheshire.
Thank you, Mayor. Robert Cheshire, Deputy City Manager. Y'all recall at the last meeting, we discussed holding the millage rate at 6.358, and the reason being that the assessment of the existing real property, even though that went down 1.4 million, there was enough new development that increased roughly 12.4 million, so we still have to see an increase in taxes, although most of that was in the TAD. The recommendation was that we hold the millage rate at 6.358. That's before you today, and that's still the recommendation.
Like the word hold, as opposed to increase.
I thought you might.
Well, I must say, the three entities that we chose what to do with their millage rate, we were the only one that did not increase our millage rate to address the deficit. The Board of Education, I don't know if they've done it officially, but I think they said they were, and the city and the county did. They rolled it up, so we're the only ones that would not roll up to address the deficit that we have, so. There you go.
Well, the council hasn't raised rates now in how many years? Since I've been on council, have we had years? So that's really a tribute to the finance department being able to deal with the ups and downs of the last 10 years and not raise taxes on, or at least not raise property taxes on it. That's how the bean counters have been, so thank you.
It's going to be clear, it wouldn't have been right. It would have been a keep it up, so. All right, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2016-34?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I figured that off, second that. Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Agenda item 12. Resolution 2016-35. A resolution to approve the amendment of the city of Statesboro's Georgia Municipal Association Defined Contribution Plan Adoption Agreement.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. Jeffrey Grant, Director of Human Resources. What you have before you is per our new city manager, Randy Wetmore's contract. We are adding him to our 401 defined contribution plan. Per his contract, it would be 4% contribution of the city of his annual salary into that plan. So part of that is Jim is a custodian of our defined contribution plan. So to bring this before you for approval. So that's one. The second thing is this actually enables future city managers to be a part of be effective September 6, 2016.
Is this something new or is it already part of the contract?
This is not new. This is, we have to, if it's a new city manager, we have to add them to the defined contribution plan. We've added prior city managers to this plan as well. So,
Okay, any questions for Mr. Grant or further discussion? If not, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2016-35?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 13 is other business from City Council. I do have one thing to talk about. Does anybody else have something they'd like to bring up today?
Well, I'm a little disappointed. I called Deputy Manager Cheshire and shared with him that some of the individuals who had applied or went to concerted services were having some issues. They almost felt like the awarding was almost arbitrary, which I think is ridiculous. I was really hoping that we could go into that, but I would still like for you to look into that because I know a lot of that conversation was going to be deferred till today. I still want that conversation to be had. This should not be arbitrary.
I don't disagree. So tell me,
One of the things that, or one of the biggest issues was the debate over what actually constituted the poverty line. Were we going with the state, or they were saying that basically it was anyone who made over $900 a month was not considered under the poverty line. That's exactly what I said. I said, you got it from me. So yeah, I don't want a guesstimate on an exact number, and then I expect them to follow it. And if they don't, then we need to figure out why.
did we,
Well, since we're paying for it, shouldn't we be the ones that set the?
Well, that's kind of the way I felt, but I wanted to, before I put that 2 cents in, I wanted to make sure.
I thought we did we review the criteria? Did y'all review the criteria, Robert?
We follow what the federal guidelines were. That's why we use concerted services, because they are used to doing this. The only thing that we could come up with, Jason might want to refer to it, I didn't even know this existed. I think they were saying that maybe the city was setting this, and the city didn't set what the line is, but the city did set it at 100%, which common sense would tell you that's what it should be. But evidently there are some programs that raise that, and that was, I don't know, concerted services said this, you said this, but there may be times where it's 125% of what the national, what that line is. And so we weren't aware of that when we said that.
So what you're saying, whatever the line is, you gotta hit it 100, common sense would have said, if, let's just say for argument's sake, it's $10,000, and they say, no, it's gotta be 12.5, because we're going at 125%.
Right, there's some programs that evidently have done that. It may be that they have more money than they're to utilize. We were unaware of that they even existed.
So what do we need to do to,
I
like,
guess we could come back here and ask if you wanted to do something different than 100%. But we also want to make sure that certain people, and I thought we had done this, and I still think we've done it. There's two sides to both stories, so I don't want to throw concerted services.
Well, that's why I said, that's why I told Robert, I want to know what the baseline is. I want to know what the minimum assets are, and income, whatever the criteria are, and I want to get that back here so that everybody knows. Because once again, Robert, good point. We don't know both sides of the story, but there's not a lot of consistency with what I heard. This one's yes, this one's no. And then obviously, I'd like to have a conversation with them about, everybody deserves to be treated with respect, and I would hope that they would follow that as well. Yeah.
And we thought it was timely that the gentleman was going to be here this morning. Obviously, that didn't work out, so apologize for that. But we'll follow up and get him here.
anybody else? Thank you for bringing that up. Councilman Chance, it's a conversation that absolutely needs to be had for sure. Particularly when we went through all the trouble of actually doing the right thing. Does anybody else have anything before I bring up my topic of interest? All right, do y'all remember back in April when Darren Van Tassel came and talked to us about sister cities in Italy? And the name of those sister cities were, Lord, if I butcher this, so be it, Monte Compatre and Grata Ferrata. All right, so I think what was said was that sounds interesting. Let's look more into this. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I got a call from Darren, and he said that they had planned a trip through Georgia Southern to go to these cities October 28th through November 6th. That was the first thing I heard about it. And I guess it just came up kind of quickly or whatever, and so Darren said, would elected officials from the city of Statesboro be interested in going? And I said, since I really have no idea what this trip's about and what it's going to cost and all of those kinds of things, send me something about it so I can present it to council. And then, after I read this to you all, just bear with me. I'll tell you what my humble opinion is. I just got this sent to me. I'd asked for it a week and a half ago, and I called this morning and said, I need you to send it to me so I can tell council. I would have sent it to you all before, but it literally just came in my email about a minute ago. So, I'll tell you what it is, and then read the purpose. Travel dates are tentatively scheduled for October 28th through November 6th to go to Italy and Albania. I don't really know what this has to do with the city of Statesboro and Albania. I really don't, but, I'm sure that there's something in there. Purpose, and this is what was presented to George Southern. Our mission is to formalize the sister cities agreement with the mayors and representatives of Monte Compatre and Grata Ferrata. We will be meeting with the mayors of both of these Italian cities. The City Council of Statesboro formally voted in April 2016 to move forward with this initiative. The vetting process on these cities was a direct result of applied research conducted by international studies majors at Georgia Southern University. Professor Lori Amy has made all the arrangements for us in both of these cities, as well as travel to Toronto, Albania, where we'll be meeting with the Albanian president and U.S. ambassador. Professor Amy will be joining us in our meetings in Italy and Albania as well. The meetings being held in Italy and Albania will be wide-ranging, seeking to provide a variety of opportunities for cultural exchanges and economic development for the Statesboro community. While there, we will be seeking to establish internship students at Ogeechee Tech and Georgia Southern University. We will also seek to begin relationships that could bring students from these cities to Statesboro for further study and continuing education at both institutions. Representatives from Italy and Albania are keenly interested in our community as a model development and are initially intrigued at focusing on agricultural and sports-related initiatives and such exchanges. Our Italian and Albanian counterparts are especially intrigued to learn more about the educational initiatives at work at Technical College in the United States, especially as it is a path to economic development in communities that have a large agricultural-based population. Because sports provides a vehicle for one of the most effective paths to begin such sister city initiatives, representatives from Statesboro's minor league soccer team, Tormenta FC, will also be a part of the delegation seeking to bring administrative soccer professionals from Italy and Albania back to work side by side in an exchange capacity with the PDL Club in summer of 2017. Cost should be limited to airfare from Atlanta to Rome and from Rome to Tirana. Estimated airfare to be about $1,600. As we are being hosted by our counterparts in Italy and Albania, the lodging and food costs should be minimal. Estimate only 2 nights of the 8 nights and per diem for only 3 days of the 9 days. And I imagine the entire travel request might be $2,500 or less. Then there's a proposed itinerary over that 8 days. And leaving on the 29th of October to arrive in Rome and departing on the 6th of November. So I share that with y'all because there's a couple things, I hadn't had a chance to talk to Dr. Van Tassel, about one thing, because we may see this a little bit differently, and I wanted to ask you all what you thought. It said the City Council of Statesboro formally voted in April to move forward with this initiative. I thought our vote was to explore it, not to necessarily confirm that that's what we were doing, but, you know, I'm just not entirely sure. I'd have to go back and look. And then the second thing, you know, I suppose, to have a little more information on exactly how the city of Statesboro, as a city government and citizens, would benefit. So those are my thoughts. I understand what they're doing, and I think it's a very good thing. It's just hard for me to go to the taxpayers right now and say, can I have $2,500 to go to Italy? You know, that's just my personal opinion, but I am more than willing to listen, and because it is kind of on short notice. Basically within 2 months, a little less than 2 months, the trip will begin, but I think it's a good thing. I'm struggling with how to wrap my head around how exactly we would do it from a city elected official perspective. So what do you all think based on just the very little bit of knowledge that I have from you?
This is John Riggs, District 4. I think that having a sister city, whether it's in Toronto or in Italy, would be a good thing. As for having one go over there, did you say it was a 9-day trip for $2,500?
It's October 28th through November 6th, and the cost per individual will be roughly about $2,500 according to Darren. That's his estimate.
Okay. I would love to be the one to take that trip and meet the Albanians and the Italians, but I would never ask the city to pay for that $2,500. But I am kind of broke myself. Further down the line about doing this, if possible. Not at this moment.
Now, I will say this, and thank you, Councilman Riggs, for chiming in. You know, any elected official from the city's invited to go, you know, because they're going. So if you want to write your check and go, I think they'd love to have you on the trip. You know, so I don't want to imply that if the city doesn't pay for you to go, that you're not invited. It's just, that's the trip.
Oh, I understand 100%.
Okay. In fact, you were the first one they said they wanted to go, John. They ranked him and you were number 1. Like I said, I can't right now suggest that the city fund a portion or all or what for somebody, you know, from an elected official to go. That's just how I feel about it.
Well, Mayor, if you wouldn't mind, I would like to talk to you after the meeting today or tomorrow sometime and talk more about this partnership, sister city thing. I'm very interested in getting that going at minimal cost, hopefully no cost to the city. But anyway, I'd like to talk to you later on about that, if that's okay.
No, that'd be great, and I agree with you. It would be, you know, I would love to be able to do that, and we'll just have to figure out the best way to go about it. What I'm going to do is just forward you all this email that came to me from Dr. Van Tassel. I think it's a great opportunity. I think it'd be great for the city. It's just when you sit up here and ask for city funding for elected officials to do it, given our situation, and as tight as our budget is, it's extraordinarily tight. Right now, it's just the time is not a great thing.
And again, to understand the benefits. I agree wholeheartedly. It's a great progressive exposure.
I do too.
Opportunity, but I don't know that I understand the benefit.
Well, I think there's always that intangible benefit. Anytime you create relationships like that and you work them, I mean, you know, and at some point there's going to be some benefit to it. I have zero doubt that it will be there. I just wish as a city we were in a better position to do that. And I would encourage, you know, any elected official for the city that's willing to do that and to send themselves, or if they can find sponsors to do that or whatever, I think it would be a great thing. I don't see how we lose. I just can't ask the city to write the check. Me personally. Now, y'all may disagree.
I agree.
Okay. That's all I had about that, so.
One of the representatives goes to take a trail and attract one of the industries here, and that comes, when the industry comes over, or some students come over, so the funding is not an issue, but the benefits, is the relationship that our country can be outstanding. And I agree with about the city not having to pay it, so like I said, it's sure, I personally like to go on the trip, and I'd be very willing to watch my own funding, because I can definitely see I can benefit the city of Statesboro as well as Georgia Southern students, and having an exchange of students, be outstanding.
Well, like I said, I will forward this email about Fantastic to everybody. And I'm guessing because it is rather short turnaround that plane ticket may go up, may go down, I don't know. You know, it's something that I would say you probably need to plan on fairly quickly. Okay. Anything else? Because that's all I got.
Robert has anything for the report? I've got just one item. Everybody should have received an email, I forwarded an email from Frank Neal that's as of beginning September 20th, we have 2 openings on the planning commission, so you should have received an application and a list of the current members on there to see if you know of anybody that's interested in that. Frank wanted to add anything or not. Would these be for what kind of terms? Are these the long term? These are the 4-year terms.
And they need to be Bullitt County residents, not city residents.
I do have one person that said they do roles.
If you could get those back in to either myself or Frank Neal, we'll bring them back up as soon as we have these 2. We'll bring them back up to 1.
Who's rolling off there?
Holmes Ramsey and
April Snap. So, obviously, the more the better there. We like to be full so that we can always make sure we have forums. They have been posted in the past, and this was a really good job of everybody showing up and having those forums. So, it's nice to get active members.
Anything else?
The only thing I would have is I'm happy to be here, happy to get started. We have some issues to take care of fairly quickly, so the honeymoon here I think will be fairly short. But we've got business to do when we get to it.
Drop the store when you get here.
I did.
Ms. Sue, did anybody register to make a public comment today?
No, ma'am.
Okay. In that case, do I have a motion to enter into executive session to discuss personnel matters?
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, please say by saying aye.